Hello.
Hey, we're back. Hey. Okay, Queen of England. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Reminds me. You ever watch Who's on Anyway? Long time ago, like the older episodes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was on when I was younger.
Yeah. Not the British version, the American version.
Both.
There was one where there was like inappropriate things to say to the Queen of England. Whoopi Goldberg was on it. She says, she goes up, do you or the Max or the And didn't know Ryan Stiles comes up and goes, hey, I lick your stamps all the time.
You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me,
I
Smalls.
love it. Okay, we're going to talk about the national championship game in college football real quick.
Nobody cares.
I wanted Clemson. I think he wanted Clemson to win too, right? I don't like Crimson Tide.
I don't have a legitimate reason to hate the Tide. Well, I have two. Well, one.
Gene
One.
likes him.
One. No, it's not because of that. One, you're fucking Alabama. If the Naval Academy called their team the Crimson Tide, it would make all the sense in the world to me. Because when they show up there's nothing but red on the shore. Like that would be a good tagline for their whole entire football season, and that would be amazing.
You know why they're
But
called
it's
the
fucking.
Crimson Tide?
I don't care. It's Alabama. Their fucking mascot is a goddamn elephant named Big Al.
You know why they're called the Crimson Tide?
Because when an elephant dies in the water, blood washes up on shore.
Nope. In the 30s, under was it 30s? Whenever it was, there was a reporter. They had a different name. I don't remember what the name used to be.
Big Al.
But he called them the Red Elephants because it just looked like because they had such big linemen, and it just looked like a bunch of big red elephants out there. So that's why they changed the name to the Crimson Tide. So that's why. Which is ironic because the quarterback for Deshaun Watson, for Clemson.
Clemson.
Yeah, Clemson. Deshaun Watson's that name.
I got it.
He went to a high school and their mascot was called the Red Elephants. Ironic, right?
Your view of irony and my view of irony.
And it was in Gainesville, Georgia. That is irony.
You know what?
And you know what? That was one of the best losing efforts I've ever seen out of it.
Thank God it was a fucking close game, because the last thing I can stand is my buddy online running his mouth about Crimson Tide, which he totally bandwagoned on about 4 years ago, and I fucking can't stand bandwagon fans.
Okay, we've never actually declared who our teams are that we follow in college football. Just them? You have any others that you cheer for?
Notre Dame. Like, it's so hard in this area of the world where we're at. Shut up.
Shut up.
It's very hard in the area of the world that we're in. It really is. I mean, because we're not like when you're in California. Well, you're a SoCo or a NoCo team. Like you're is SoCal or a NoCal team. That's where you're at. North Carolina, South Carolina. Your lines are drawn for you. Are you in Washington, Oregon? Idaho. Like lines are all drawn for them.
Football, NFL too.
But over here, where we're at in what Annapolis thinks is West Virginia, but it's actually technically part of the state of Maryland, we are really close to a lot of Division I teams. We really are.
Yeah.
You think about it. Penn State, Pitt, WVU, Marshall, Maryland.
Ohio State's not that far.
Yeah, Ohio State. Well, you want to get down into Virginia
Akron,
a little bit.
Akron.
BT. Like, we're close to a lot of teams.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to choose a local team.
I mean, if you have one favorite, if there's one team you're rooting for, it's Boise, right?
Yeah, always Boise.
Always team, I root for Boise too, just not the favorite. My favorite team is West Virginia.
Well, my favorite, my co-favorite with Boise is Notre Dame, but I was raised Irish, and that's just what you always did, because that was one thing you could depend on a Saturday afternoon, was that Notre Dame was going to be on NBC.
Yeah. That
was a given. You got to see, if you're a Notre Dame fan, you got to see every single Notre Dame game. There was no regional blackouts or any of that bullshit.
So,
yes. But I enjoy watching WVU. I enjoy watching Pitt. I enjoy watching the Backyard Brawl. I think it's a fun game.
I follow college. I don't know how much you follow. I follow college sports a little more than you do.
I don't do it religiously. I've been to State College, PA, and I drank my ass off, and I had such a good time. So I'll cheer for Penn State. They're a bunch of really nice people. I've been down to Maryland at UMBC and UMCP. They're really not that bad.
If it's West Virginia, I'm not cheering for anyone over there. But if Maryland's playing, I'm okay with Maryland winning. I'll watch them. I'll cheer for them. Marshall,
I got
Penn
nothing
State.
against any
Yeah.
team in our area.
Boise. Utah. I like those schools. Like Brigham Young. I like what they do religiously. I like their missionary works.
I used to think TCU was that, but they're not. They're not even close. I don't even.
But
know
they're
what the
still
fuck.
pretty cool.
Yeah, but I have no idea what the fuck they're doing down there because they're supposed to be Texas Christian University.
Yeah.
Horny frogs.
Horned frogs.
Whatever.
Horned frogs.
What? Stop fucking up.
But like, I like TCU. I cheer for TCU. I like their team. Oregon, if it just depends on who they're playing. Really.
I just love the Ducks uniforms. I'm not gonna lie.
Who else? I don't like anyone up north. Like, I don't like Syracuse. I don't like Rutgers. I don't like any of those teams. Anyone down south. I don't like Florida. I like Florida's jerseys. Gainesville, the Gators.
University of Central Florida.
Yeah.
I love those kids. I love those kids.
Oh, Florida Gulf Coast. I cheered for them a couple years ago.
Mm.
They were that team that went nuts and beat number 2 Georgetown. Butler. There's a team I follow. That's a mid-major. Butler and George Mason. George Mason made that Final Four run a few years back.
Oh, you're talking about all sports in general. Okay.
Yeah, I was talking about all sports in general. But yeah, there's a couple teams I just always, if I see them, I cheer for them.
IUP PUI?
No, not them.
Really? Why not? I just
don't like them.
I just like saying their name.
There's one more. One more if I see, I'll be like, yeah, I want them to win. Creighton, there's one. Davidson, that's where Steph Curry went.
Yeah.
Obviously, you obviously tell, I follow a lot more than he does. I have the mid-majors I cheer for.
I'll draft a Final Four.
St. Louis
That's about it.
is another one. St. Louis, I don't know if it's State. But they are just such a good defensive team. I love watching them play defense. It's magical. In basketball.
Yeah.
UTSA, University of Texas San Antonio. I have a friend who goes there, so I cheer for them. Even though they're not in a major football conference. So.
It happens.
Okay, sorry. National football game. Was it 45-40? Was the final score?
45-40. At least it was close. Thank God it was close.
I thought.
Thank God it was close.
I do not think the better team won. That's my personal opinion. Because the only time
Alabama only held the lead in the last quarter.
Yeah. The only time that they actually
23 points in the last
quarter.
Well,
the number one defense in the league gave up 40 points to a Clemson, an ACC team. That's the first thing. Second, the only time Alabama's offense scored was on busted coverages. It wasn't like they were pounding the ball down the field.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, Derrick Henry wasn't just beating them.
Oh my God. In Clemson, they were beating them off the ball every time. So, but the only time they scored was missed coverages, botched coverages, stuff like that.
Mm.
That's the only time they scored. And that stupid onside kick pissed me off.
What?
I had just got home and turned the game on when I saw that. I was really mad about that.
I would like to go on record as stating that if you are going to go for an onside kick, you should have to
announce it.
Let them know.
No. See, this is why in the NFL, this is why I don't like the that you go for the extra point at the 35 or the 35 yarder.
Yeah.
Or you go for 2. Because you're taking that element of surprise out of it. Because you can go for the extra point, and let's say you're going to tie it up, but you can fake it and go for a touchdown and win the game. You're taking that element of surprise out of the equation. That's why I don't like moving it back to the 25 or wherever it is.
Yeah.
You know, you're taking that element of the game, that sneak attack, that where you have to be prepared for anything. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You're taking that element out of the game, and I don't like that. I don't like having to denounce what you're doing before you do it. That's bullshit. That'd be like me as a basketball team telling you, we're going to press you right after we make this free throw. You better get ready. You don't do that, so you're ready to press, and half your team's down the court, and you just have your point guard standing there trying to get the ball, but there's 2 guys not in the ball. You know what I mean?
See, now you're speaking Greek.
It should be like walking a line, like we're running the ball, Come up close and stop the run. You know,
Garrett. Here's what's going to happen because of that. You're going to see a lot of teams go for fake kickoffs next year.
Well, okay. This is a high school video I watched, and it's a high school team, and this is how their coach analyzed it, and it's genius. You'll appreciate this. It's analytics, but it's genius. Okay, he said when we kick off, on average, They kick off and get to about the 30 to 35 yard line. That's when we actually tackle them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When we onside kick, the ball goes about 15 yards. So the ball goes to about the 45 to the 42 yard line when we onside kick, because they kick off from the other 40.
So you're off about 7 yards total.
You're off about 7 to 10 yards. I'm like, so why don't we just onside kick it every time
and
have the chance of getting the ball and just give them 7 more yards? That's what they do. This coach took over. The coaches, I think it's Alabama. It's like it's one of those Mississippi, Alabama states. And he's like 143 and 10.
Yeah.
He never punts, because he says if we punt, no matter where you are in the field, if you punt, you're basically giving them about 30 yards. Okay, and then all they need is about 2 first downs to get to where you're at. Let's say you're on the 10-yard line.
Yeah, to get to where you're at anyway. Yeah, I know where you're going.
Let's say you're on the 10-yard line and you need 4 more yards to get a first down. If you punt, it's going to take them 2 first downs to get there anyway. And they have a lot more field to work with. But if you don't punt and go for it, the odds of you scoring on that drive are up 95%.
Yeah,
because you just took momentum, you took a lot of wind out of the defensive sails, and you kept them on the field longer. If you miss that, you have the defensive advantage because you have the less space to work with, and the offense can't maneuver as well in less space.
Mm-hmm.
So you always have the advantage when you go for it. So he never kicks off normally. He never punts, unless it's like a real egregious situation where he has to punt.
Yeah, like 1st and 300.
Or if it's like you're like pinned on the 1.
Yeah.
And he has to punt it.
And
there's like 10 seconds left in the game. You have to punt.
Yeah.
So that's the only time I would ever do that, because that's when the numbers say you should punt.
Yeah.
But he's a very successful coach, and he uses the analytics. And he said he started a game against the number 1 team in the state. They didn't get the ball in the second quarter because they started the game off with an onside kick. Drove, touchdown. The next kickoff, onside kick, got it. Drove, touchdown. And this is the whole first quarter that happened 3 times because they just could not recover the onside kick.
Oh, that opposing.
Because this is what happened. Whenever they put their hands team on, they pooch kicked the other side. You know what the hands team is, right?
Yes.
Okay. They pooch kicked at the other side. So they have if you have a basic setup to on the kick, it's really advanced football right there.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a basic setup for like a regular kickoff, advantage, because they have their best guys with hands and the guys that are ready to get it, and they know the play that's coming.
Yeah.
If you go with the hands team, you have your best guys that can catch up front, but you don't have your best guys that can catch back here. So they pooch kick it and kick it over and run and get it. It's ingenious, and there's no return on that. You never risk giving up a touchdown. There is no return on an onside kick.
Okay.
For the other team, it's almost, I would say it's ingenious. I wouldn't say it's ingenious, but it's very revolutionary.
No, it's not ingenious. It is genius. It's fucking genius.
It's genius. Okay.
It's fucking genius.
Analytically, it's just out there on. It's awesome. I like that kind of stuff when it comes to sports. But national championship game. Are you connected to the internet? Nope. Oh, I am. So, anything you want to add about the game?
Not really.
Watson played well. I'm just mad because the only. I don't like seeing a team that just wins on luck. I thought Alabama won a little bit on luck. Lucky onside kick.
I just don't like Alabama, so there's that.
Lucky, what was it? Kickoff return, right? You got kickoff return at like the 5-yard line.
I didn't even watch the game.
I watched the game. I watched the end of it.
I didn't watch the game. Me and Jesse watched like the first 15 minutes of it, and we're trying to understand why in the fuck they were called the Crimson Tide. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just go to bed.
Clemson Tigers. I like Clemson Tigers.
It makes sense to me.
Yeah, I don't. I'm just telling you that's why they're called the Crimson Tide. Is a reporter back in like the 30s or 40s referred to them as a bunch of red elephants, so they changed their team name to that. So, do you think Nick Saban is the greatest coach ever in college football?
No.
Who do you think it is?
I don't know. I've honestly not followed college football that closely. And we could talk about national championships. We could talk about total number of wins. We could go on and on about that.
I still think it's Joe Paul best.
Forever. But the thing is we're looking at 128 fucking schools. And what constitutes the greatest coach ever? Do we take a bunch of riffraff and turn them into awesome for one season and then consistently stay close for years upon years upon years? Or is it the number of championships that we've had?
Number of first rounders and how successful we are on the
Yeah,
pros.
well, what is it? You know what I mean? There's so many different ways to evaluate what the best
if you
coach
look at
is.
If you look at him as a recruiter, he's a very good recruiter. He gets top 3 every year in recruiting.
What, 4 out of 7? Fuck yeah, he's going to, because every kid wants to win a national championship.
Yeah, and he pays off players. I don't get that.
Hey, what the fuck ever? What college?
Pat White got a car out of them trying to recruit him as a safety.
What college doesn't pay off their players?
Well, it's to what extent too? How much are they willing to give, and so on and so forth. But it like you said, he does have a decent amount of national championships, and
4 out of the last 7 years.
Yeah,
5 total.
6 of them.
5.
You sure? I thought he had 5 with Alabama, and then he had 1 with LSU.
No, he has 4 with Alabama and 1 with LSU.
Okay. I thought he had 5 of it. So is it national titles? I don't know, because
I'm not going to call someone the greatest ever because ever ain't done yet.
So if you want to get, in my opinion, it's still Joe Paterno, because Joe Paterno, if you look at his record, he only had 2 losing seasons in his whole career, and he got snubbed on a lot of national titles. He had about 4 undefeated seasons where he didn't get a national title berth because he wasn't on the West Coast.
Well, that's
because the voting was done by writers in California.
Exactly.
That's why that was done.
That's why it's bullshit to talk about someone being the best there ever was from back in the day.
Well, he also
back in the day,
did it for 40 years. He had 40 years of longevity. And he did it with one team, too.
Yeah.
He's not like... See, okay, this is...
Now, I'm not even going here. I'm not even getting into this discussion. The only thing I was saying was, what do you evaluate the greatest coach ever on? Because if you want to talk about how Alabama's coach is the number 1 guy ever to have ever coached a football team ever, what's your fucking criteria? Because the national championship bullshit, well, back in the day, that was different. It wasn't the same. Was it your recruiting class? Well, back then, they didn't have a limit on scholarships, so they could literally go out and, quote unquote, draft the greatest team every year if they wanted to. Is it the number of people that go to the draft and score or go in the first round? Well, how many of those guys pan out to be pieces of shit in the long run? You can't. There's no true metric to evaluate who the greatest coach in college history thus far is. There's no way to do it.
Here's what I hold against him. First off, he didn't do it all.
White.
No, he didn't do it all with one team. When you're jumping around from Michigan to LSU, you leave LSU to go to the pros, and you leave from the pros and go to Alabama. When you're jumping around like that, in my opinion, you lose a lot of credibility because you have no loyalties. And if you did it all with one, if you built the program and sustained the program for a long period of time, Joe Paterno is my favorite coach of all time. I'm not going to get into what happened with the Jerry Sandusky thing. I'm just going to say that Joe Paterno got snubbed and got blamed for something that was not his responsibility. He got fucked over big time for something that was not his responsibility.
And it put him in his grave.
It did.
It didn't kill him, but it put him in his grave.
And the reason why he is my favorite college football coach of all time, is because he built a program in Penn State. He built it up, got good players, and maintained longevity for a long period of time. Not to mention, the reason we have the layouts like we have now is because of him.
Mm.
Because if you have, Ohio State and Penn State were, 2 of the biggest ones of its time. And then you start adding these other schools. The reason why, Michigan has always been pretty good. Michigan State is good now, and other schools are good because they joined these big. Look at Northwestern as an example. You think that they got any notoriety as a football program or a school without being in the Big Ten?
Probably not.
Probably not. That's why you have the conference system we have now. And he got snubbed on what he wanted. He wanted 4 super conferences: 1 North, 1 South, 1 middle of the country, and then 1 on the West Coast. 4 super conferences, winner of each, 14 playoff. That's what he wanted initially. They couldn't do that because it wasn't enough money, or they couldn't agree on things. But,
No, it was money. It's always money.
well, it's different now. Now football makes way more money. You can afford these things now. If they did it now, they probably could.
They wouldn't do it.
They wouldn't, but they probably could.
Not enough money.
But that's why we have the system we have now. And to me, that the whole building a team, building a dynasty, and building a program and sustaining that program whenever the times have changed, new types of players, new types of like the millennials, different generations, like
and
different.
He consistently did it.
Yeah, that's what is good for me. Nick Saban is a good coach, but
right now
he never won a national title at Michigan State.
Yeah,
he won one at LSU, which he probably could have won more, should have won more, considering all the talent that he had. Based on the talent he had, he should win one every year. I'm going to just throw that out there. That's why I don't think he's the best ever. Because based on the talent he has every year, he should win a championship every year. And he doesn't.
I would just flat out say he might be the best right now. All right, he's pissed.
Yeah, he's the best right now. So
okay.
So we'll come back with our nerd talk.
Nerd stuff.
Nerd talk.
I'm down like 30%.
Battery. Okay.
Yeah,
We're
I can do
out.
it.
Next, we're going to tell you it's Talk Spartacus and Leonidas. Okay. See you.